What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name's Charles. I own mXrevival and mXrevival.com, and today we are back working on your 2003 CR250 giveaway bike. More specifically, we will be focusing on rebuilding your bike's rear caliper and your bike's rear master cylinder, basically everything that makes the brakes work. Now, by the end of this video, you're going to know where to find these parts. You're going to know how to do this yourself. It's quite easy, and you're also going to know exactly where to go to enter to win this badass bike. Now, I'm also going to go ahead and leave the complete playlist below for your CR250 build and giveaway. That way you can get caught up on what's been done so far. We vapor blasted the frame together. As you guys can see, it looks absolutely amazing. We did the same thing to your engine cases. And then the RM250 giveaway, which is a separate series, but part of the same monthly subscription to win bikes. We just went ahead and did all the transmission and crank bearings in that bottom end. So lots to learn, lots to share with you guys, and lots to give away. Let's go ahead and jump into today's brake rebuild video. All right, guys, here we are on the bench. First, I want to show you everything that comes in this super easy, convenient, and actually very affordable all balls rebuild kit for your rear master cylinder. So we've got a gorgeous rear master cylinder here, Honda CR250, and it's been vapor blasted. This here is basically all the guts that go inside of that, the plunger rod, and here's your plunger as well. This is going to ride inside of the master cylinder, and some of the wear items that we will be replacing are in this kit. And they're all the things you need to make this sucker work again. So what you will get in this particular master cylinder rebuild kit, you will get a circlip here, you will get a new dust boot, you will get a new spring for your plunger, and you will get brand new seals for the plunger itself. Lastly, you will receive 2 crush washers for your banjo bolt. This will help you seal your brake line. So that's it. That's all there is inside of one of these. Not much going on. And because of that, anybody could do this job. It's very easy, it's very fun, and like I said, it's very affordable thanks to these very convenient all-in-one kits. Now, some of the tools you will need to do this job would include some Sil Glide or equivalent. This is going to help keep things moving and keep things sealed up nicely. Pair of snap ring pliers. I like to have a little pick on standby, and then some contact cleaner. I've been using the heck out of this stuff. It's also a very good idea to have some shop towels handy because you will be making not a huge mess, but if you don't use Sil Glide and you use brake fluid instead, it is quite a bit more oily. So these are the simple tools you'll need for today's job. Okay, now that we know what we need to get this job done and we have our all balls rebuild kit, let's go ahead and assemble this bad boy. So first things first, you can start with a low hanging fruit if you'd like. You can go ahead and throw your crush washers onto your banjo bolt just so you don't lose them, so they don't fall on the floor. 1 washer, 2 washers. You'll get 2 washers in every kit. Probably been using these all balls kits for 5, 6, 7 years on various bikes. Have never had a failure. Have never had a defective crush washer where you start leaking brake fluid. So that's really nice, very comforting. Now the next thing we want to do would be install these seals onto our plunger. Now when you first look at these, you think, oh man, where do they go? They're both so small, I can't really tell which one goes on which end, which one goes on the other end. It's really nice that one of them actually has a larger ID or inner diameter than the other. So it's very easy to tell, and you'll know exactly where those ride based off the OD or outer diameter of these 2 locations on your plunger rod here, or your plunger, excuse me. Now, if your plunger is looking a little sad, you can use a wire wheel to clean it up. If you are doing a brake master cylinder rebuild, there's a good chance that your plunger doesn't look this good. If you've had water intrusion, you might have a lot of erosions or holes or what looks like the surface of the moon. So you can either replace it, or in our case, we went ahead and vapor blasted this because it was good enough to reuse, and it will get it looking nice and shiny again. So I take a little bit of this Sil Glide, not much, and I just lubricate these tiny little seals that come in your kit, and that will really help get them moving when you're trying to install them. We're also going to use the pick. A little bit more Sil Glide here on the plunger itself. And so now you really need to think about the orientation of these little seals. They're shaped like cups. Their intent is to keep the fluid inside the master cylinder so it's not spilling out all over the ground, right? So that means the cup side needs to face the fluid. Also, just to get your orientation, this little ball shape here on the end of the plunger rod is going to go into the cup on the end of the plunger there. So they're going to sit like that. And when you push your brake pedal down over here, the tip, it's going to force this clevis upward, in which case those cups need to face up. So like I said, cups face up inside of the master cylinder. Now it doesn't matter which side you start on here. You're going to go ahead and take the plunger, and you're also not going to drop your little lubricated cup seal there, and you're simply going to slide it over the top of this plunger. Now, if it gets a little too slimy, the seal glide, and you need a little help, you can use your pick. Be really careful not to tear this brand new part, and weasel it into the cup seal there. And you can stretch it over. Sometimes this takes a couple shots. Come on. You're supposed to know how to do this if it's a how-to video, right? I'm struggling. You were doing all right until now. Holy shit. I don't think I've ever struggled with one of these before. Let's go ahead and use your pick and sneak the seal. Oh my God. So go ahead and use your pick and sneak that seal right over the edge or lip on that plunger. And that will be your first seal installed. For the second seal, we're going to go from the other end. Again, cup side up. For this one, sometimes it's easier to stretch it over the bottom of that cup there, where the plunger rod sits. And there you go. Cup side up. Make sure it's seated in that groove all the way. And there you have it. Now this job is almost complete. Like I said, there's not much to it. So very easy. Very fun. Take a break to go ahead and clean all of the lubricants or any chemicals off your hands, especially if you have a freshly vapor blasted master cylinder like we do here today. Don't want to get any grubby mitts on this thing. Next steps for us here, we're going to go ahead and install the included spring onto the end of your plunger here, and it's very easy. It simply snaps into place. It actually could not be easier. Now the purpose of the spring is as you are utilizing your brake pedal to actuate your brakes, and this is being forced up into the master cylinder, the spring is going to help it return back down as it is butted against the inner body of the master cylinder here. We're ready to go ahead and install that into the master cylinder itself, so we're going to get a little bit more of this seal glide and go ahead and just grease this sucker up. This is really going to help the thing get a nice head start on a seal. So we'll go ahead and take our master cylinder and our freshly rebuilt plunger and go ahead and just wiggle that thing in there. And so now we're on the home stretch. We're going to go ahead and install the plunger rod. But before we do that, we're going to need to go ahead and check out this circlip and dust boot that are included and think about how they're going to go into this assembly. Now you'll notice in the bottom of your master cylinder, there is, where's my pick? A little groove. And that is where the circlip is going to ride and help keep all these parts retained. That circlip is going to live butted up against this washer, which is part of the assembly on most Japanese dirt bike rear brakes, and that's going to keep everything retained, like I said, up inside of the master cylinder body. You can install the boot very, very last, so no need to worry about that quite yet. So our plunger is installed with brand new seals and brand new spring. Next step is to go ahead and line up our plunger rod. This is what's effectively happening when you're using your brakes. Take our circlip, which has a soft side and a sharp side, and make sure that that sharp side is facing down. Reason being, sometimes if you install a circlip with the soft side being what's getting pushed against, it can pop out. Probably not in this case, it's not ultra critical, but as a good practice in general, when you're working with these circlips, make sure the sharp side is facing towards the direction the pressure is going to be getting applied against it. So that return spring in this case would be pushing this rod out. You'd want to have this sharp side facing out so it has a better chance of catching that groove inside the master cylinder body. So go ahead and take your circlip. You can go ahead and let it ride right there on top of the plunger rod. And this is where our snap ring pliers are going to come in handy, because we're going to need to compress or close so these ends come together, this snap ring, so we can get it to fit down inside the master cylinder body itself. So take your master cylinder, take your plunger rod, and take your brand new snap ring and lay it right on top of that washer. So take our pliers, install them in that snap ring, compress it, get that sucker to drop inside. You guys can see the new circlip has been started, but it has not been seated into the groove yet inside the master cylinder body. So go ahead and keep some finger pressure on that so it doesn't pop out. Use your snap ring pliers. Push it down a little further once you compress it. And now that you've gotten it deep enough, still not in the groove, you can use something blunt to push it down there like a flathead screwdriver. You may also be able to use your fingers, but let's listen for the snap. Not quite. I don't know if you guys heard that, but we are in the groove all the way around. Yep. As you guys can see, everything is now firmly housed and held in place by that new snap ring. Now that everything is settled into place, it's time to go ahead and install our little dust seal, dust boot. The larger side there is going to live down inside the master cylinder, basically right on top of that snap ring we just installed. And the smaller side, which is tapered down to that point, is going to live on this groove right here on the plunger rod. Real easy. Slide it over. You can push it into place with your fingers. And then if you need to use your pick, you can. Use your pick and just glide the end of this boot over the nut and down into that groove we were just talking about. Just make sure if you're using that pick, you don't poke a hole in this thing. Go ahead and push down along the edge until the larger part of the boot has been seated flat inside that master cylinder. You can see I'm using the blunt side, or not pointy or sharp side of the pick to get that down in there. And when you're done, everything should be nice and even there. You got a even reveal on that nut. Everything's nice and square, sitting in the master cylinder bore here. And guys, that's how you rebuild a master cylinder using one of these really great all balls kits. Works every time. All right, guys, here we are on the bench. We're going to go over the 3 specific kits that you're going to need from All Balls in order to do a complete caliper overhaul. Now, kit number 1 is going to be the caliper rebuild kit itself, and that's going to include a bunch of rubber grommets that go on your caliper hanger, your caliper bracket. It's going to come with the 2 seals for your caliper piston. It's going to come with the 2 crush washers for your banjo bolt, which is going to seal up your brake line. It's going to come with the dust cover for your bleeder screw, and it's even going to come with this little guy here, easy to drop as you can see, and that's going to live on the end of this brake pad retaining pin. So that's going to be kit number 1. All those items are going to come inside that first caliper rebuild kit. The next portion of the kit is simply the brake pads. So those are going to be in another container themselves, and then the third container is going to be the caliper piston. What I really love about everything that's going on here is that if you're to buy these, which usually were only an OEM item, usually very expensive. All Balls actually came out with these. We use the heck out of them. Just about every bike build and giveaway. They're inexpensive, they fit perfectly, and like I said, these 3 kits, full overhaul. So I'm really grateful that we can get all this stuff so easily now, especially for bikes that are so old. In this case, it's a 2003 Honda CR250. So no spring chicken. Now that's an overview on what we're going to need to rebuild this caliper. Let's go ahead and get into the tools we need. All right, here's a look at today's massive tool list. As you can see, not a whole lot of heavy duty stuff going on. Super easy job, super fun. This is the craziest tool we've got on the bench. It's a little pick and you might not even use it. This is used in some cases to help coax some of these seals into the caliper. You may or may not need it. Now we're also going to use this Seal Glide, which is just a basic brake lubricant you can find anywhere. Anything that works like it is just fine to lubricate these seals, to help them slide into the caliper, and also create a nice seal on the piston when it slides through these seals in the caliper. So very nice to have. Also, a little bit of contact cleaner. You can use whatever you want to keep your hands clean. Between installation of all these bits and pieces, it's just to keep your workspace clean and your hands clean, of course. Some Blue Shop towels or equivalent. All right, now you guys have seen the very limited tool list we'll be using today. You've seen all 3 All Balls kits. Let's go ahead and get this caliper rebuilt so we can get your bike stopping like brand new or better again. So I've got a little trick for you guys. Oftentimes in these kits, you will find that some of the rubber grommets for the guide pins look a little bit ashy, and that's totally normal. Now you can use some of that contact cleaner or whatever it is you're using to simply wipe that stuff away, spray a little bit on your shop rags, and just give that a wipe. It's going to come right off, and then the thing's going to look incredible. It's going to look OEM, it's going to fit like OEM, and it's going to have a nice sheen to it as well. It just looks like a nice brand new part, as it should. Sometimes these guys are a little ashy as well. Same method, we'll clean them right up. First things first, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of our seal glide to the end of our rubber grommet here. This is going to help it slide into the caliper much more easily. So on the bottom of your caliper, you will see this eyelet here. That's where that guy lives. The tapered end is going to live on the outside, facing away from your wheel. Once you get that started, that seal glide is going to help you twist and turn this little rubber grommet until it pops its way out the other side. I would not recommend using the pick for this stage just because you might poke a hole in this, and this is supposed to keep dirt, dust, and the elements out and away from your guide pin. And there we go. That's where that rubber grommet's going to live. That's what it looks like installed. Wipe some of that seal glide off. Cerakote safe, if you're wondering. This is Cerakote, which is a ceramic coating on this brake caliper. Now we're going to jump to the caliper bracket. There is also going to be another guide pin seal installed here in the end. This is where the second guide pin is going to ride. As you guys can see, one's going to be here, one's going to be here. We're keeping the elements out of those bores. Before I do that, a little bit of that seal glide inside. Never hurts. You can even take the pin that's going to ride in there, install it, give it a little wiggle, get that stuff to go 360 inside that bore. And now at this point, you should have a little bit of seal glide in this groove or retaining ring where this all balls dust seal easily installs. Go ahead and keep my hands clean between installs here. Don't want to make a gigantic mess. So we've got our caliper bracket ready to go, and we're going to move on to the caliper piston seals that go inside the caliper here. When you look inside of the caliper, you're going to see two grooves, and when you see the two O-rings, it'll be easy to tell that one is thicker than the other, or taller, however you like to describe it. And so they'll have very specific corresponding grooves inside the caliper. The small one is always in the front, and deeper into the bore, you will have the larger of the two seals. I like to take a little more seal glide. Again, this is going to provide a nice seal against that new piston when it goes in. Lube them both up first. Don't get this stuff on your brake pads. You'll ruin them. You don't want any contaminants on them at all. Go ahead and grab your caliper. Grab the larger of the two. Actually, it doesn't matter which one you pick first. Take your finger and just install this into the bore. Seat it with your finger. It'll be in there at about a 30-degree angle, 45-degree angle when you're getting it started. And just work it into whichever groove it's going to live in, depending on which seal you started with. Give it a little spin with your finger. You will feel it drop into the groove and sit flat. And then you move on to the next seal, and they are not directional. You will see a lip inside of these seals sometimes, in particular this smaller of the two. Doesn't matter if you put it in upwards, downwards, whichever way it fits into the groove, as long as it's not inside out, is just fine. That one dropped in even easier than the first. Now we've got our brand new piston. Again, I'm so stoked that All Balls makes these. The closed off side is going to face inside the caliper, so the open end is going to touch the back of your brake pad for orientation. So with our brand new seals installed inside the caliper and our brand new caliper piston lubed up ever so slightly with some of the seal glide, again, cup side is out. You can see I'm using my finger to hold it much like a thimble. Go ahead and work it into the caliper. You're going to feel it past the second seal. You can use both your fingers and just collapse that thing in. Now it's out of the way. Now we can go ahead and install our caliper on our caliper hanger, followed by our brake pads, our brake pad retaining pin, and then we will safely house these banjo bolts seals on our banjo bolt itself. A little tiny bit more seal glide here on this guide pin. Nice little loop. Then we will go ahead and take our caliper and make sure that these two guide pins are going into the rubber boots or seals we just installed, like so. Sometimes there can be a little bit of pressure built up inside of here once we have the seal glide on, so if you have to press it a little more firmly, it's no big deal. You're going to push those until there's a groove at the end there, snaps over, and it's actually going to have some retention on the shape of that pin. Now back to that pressure, if you find that your caliper will go in, and you can see it's moving there, there's a little bit of air buildup in there, you can always use your pick and gently lift the end of that new seal, and that will help it sit flat or deeper in the stroke. Same with the other one on the other side. You get a little bit of air buildup sometimes. And there you have it. Next thing we're going to want to grab is this brake pad retaining pin, and not all bikes have these. Not all kits will include them, but there is a tiny little seal. Let's see if I can show that to you. Tiny little seal that goes on the end of that brake pad retaining pin, and there's a groove on that as well where it's going to live. Just force that into place. Doesn't require any lubricant. Pretty easy. Try not to drop it. It's very, very small, but that's all it takes. All right, we're on the home stretch of this job here. We're going to go ahead and install your brand new all balls brake pads. You'll notice there are holes on the ends of these brake pads here, and that is for the guide pin to slide through and help retain them in the caliper itself. So make sure those are facing outward towards the rear of your bike. Of course, your caliper is upside down right now. Get both your pads installed. Now we're going to go ahead and use the guide pin. Slide it through the end of the caliper here. It will go through both of those eyelets in your brake pads and just tighten it down. Now before we tighten it down, I will note that I really like when the guide pins have an 8mm head on them rather than a 5mm recessed Allen, where then you also need an OEM cap to cover that Allen when you're done. So I really prefer this style where you can just use a quick wrench, a quick socket. You don't have to pull a cap and then find an Allen wrench. You just tighten this thing down, it's ready to go, and I think it has a really nice fit and finish too, having that 8mm head on the outside. So good job, guys. That's included in the kit. But what that also means is I burned you guys on the tool at the beginning of this video. You're gonna need a little 8mm socket, so forgive me for that. You can also see there is some thread locker pre-applied, so once you seat this thing, it's gonna be good to go. It's not gonna back out on you while you're out riding. Go ahead and give it a little cinch. Nothing too crazy. Again, it's got thread locker on it. Usually a fastener that size is about 7 foot-pounds torque, which is not much past a hand snug. Now let's go ahead and find a home for our banjo bolt crush washers. 1, 2, and just go ahead and drop them in here until we're ready to install this on the bike and get those brakes bled. Last but not least, we've got our little dust cover for our bleeder here. Just go ahead and weasel that thing right over the top of it. Sometimes these get twisted up at the bottom. If you roll them down over the bleeder, just go ahead and stretch it out a couple directions and it will unravel itself. Plug her in there and you're done. By far the quickest, easiest, and most convenient way to rebuild your brakes, not to mention extremely affordable. That looks absolutely amazing. This bike's gonna stop like brand new or better, and I can't wait to install this thing. Let's close this one out. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Your brakes look ridiculous. I gotta show you something. I'll be right back. So those brakes we just finished rebuilding together are going to complement your Brembo braking system. Yes, Brembo on a Japanese dirt bike, not to mention a Japanese giveaway dirt bike that is far from a new bike. This is going to be insane. I can't wait to install these for you guys. Dean over at Fast Blast spent a lot of time trying to come up with a blend to match this Brembo caliper. This is something I carry. If you guys need one, use the contact link on the website. I'd love to help you get one. It will come with a black hanger. I stripped and vapor blasted that to match your Honda's hanger, but damn, it might even look dead on match for you guys. I'm not sure, but for me, it's about as close as it gets. So that's a stock Honda caliper, and of course the aftermarket Brembo there, but whew, unreal. Another thing I'm going to mention, if you guys thought the video felt a little different today, everything that you watched in regards to the utilization of the all balls kits and the installation, all that stuff was actually filmed for them because they brought me on board and hired me to film some content for them. So really cool to get their support. That helps out a lot with these builds. And so if you caught a little bit of a different vibe in it, maybe a little less myself, it's because it was really weird filming a video for someone else. They want me to give them the content, so I was trying not to swear and all that sort of thing. So they're going to edit it up and we'll see how it goes. But either way, if you guys need any of those parts, it also helps out massively when you use the links below. Those are going to be affiliate links directly to this stuff, so thank you. And other than that, I hope the promise was made that you now know how to do it, you know where to get the stuff, and you know what very minimal tools you need to do the job. So I'm always holding this stuff up in the air forever. I have no idea why. So in some videos upcoming, guys, we've got more coated parts for your bike back from Dean. All Balls sent even more product. They sent chain, sprockets, linkage, all those parts you just saw right now. What else is over there? Piston, Japanese crank bearings. There's all kinds of stuff. And that company, All Balls, is part of a bigger wheelhouse that owns like Super Sprox and Hot Rods and all these other things. So we'll be installing some of those parts on your clamps, etc., together soon on the Honda. And also, Electron always comes through. All I have to do is let them know that I'm building something cool for you guys. They want something. And they send out brand spanking new $800 carbs for you guys. So Electron, thank you so much for backing me for all these years. Whether you like Electron or not, guys, this is massive for me. It's massive for you. Guys will complain about this and win a bike for $30. So whatever that's all about. At any rate, Electron, Brooks and everybody else in the tech team, I really appreciate you guys. Everyone at All Balls, thank you for sending me all these parts to build for everyone else. Rocky Mountain, thank you for supporting me as well. You guys can find all these parts at Rocky Mountain also. Thank you for the shirts and a lot of cool stuff happening over here, guys. Sorry if I'm being long-winded. Things are just kind of starting to work after how many years have been watching me, right? So pretty cool. Now to wrap things up, again, I hope you learned something in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys are excited about what's coming. If you want to take a crack at winning this CR250, a lot of you already know by now, you're not entering just to win the CR250. You are entering a $15 a month mXrevival monthly program membership to win this bike, the 04 RM250. Other bikes I'll be building soon. And if a bike's not ready yet, then I'm still going to do a brand new giveaway every month for an MX part or a service. For example, we just awarded our lucky winner some vapor blasting. I'm going to take care of some vapor blasting for whatever he wants. April's giveaway, we're going to do some coatings for you guys. So these coatings that Dean does, like here on the brakes, or these triple clamps, we're going to cover it for you. So if you guys made it this far in the video, use code mXrevivalOG at checkout. It'll now be $10 for the entire year. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching, and until next time, catch up on all the links below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, guys.